is the third Galaxy S that I've reviewed. I've reviewed the S4, S5, and now the S6. I've owned the S3, S4, reviewed the S5, and now I own the S6. So how does this new installment handle? The design of this phone is really nice and high quality, more than any other Galaxy. All the other Galaxies were really just plastic, and this was the only one that's and this one is the only one that's truly glass and a kind of a high quality metal. On the front you have the fingerprint scanner built into the home button, this time only by pressing it instead of swiping your finger, kind of gimmicking in the S5. You have the screen, which I'll get to in just a second. Up top there's a 5 megapixel selfie camera, and it has a super wide angle view lens. Now they actually moved the speaker down to the bottom, which I think was a really good idea, because having the speaker on the bottom, actually, like if you put your phone down, it doesn't get all muffled with the speaker being on the back. You can actually still hear it, and it just all around kind of angles better, and you can it just sounds better. And then on the bottom you also have the charger port, which is no longer has a door on it like the S5 did, and that's because the S6 is no longer waterproof and dust resistant. I think it's IP67 certified. No longer. It's actually not USB 3 anymore. It's the back to the traditional USB 2, I guess, that you saw in the S4 and all the other Galaxies, I believe. And it still charges just as fast. It has, I think, a bigger actual wall charger, and it has fast charging, and that in just 10 minutes you can get 4 hours, I believe, of battery on the S6, and that's really good. And then of course the headphone jack. On the left you have the volume controls, and then the right has the power button, which is actually moved down a bit from the S5, along with the SIM card, and then on top is the IR blaster and another microphone. The back is great. It's glass now, has a obviously the camera, flash, and LED, and then built into that is the heart rate monitor. Onto the screen is a 2560 by 1440 display, which translates to almost 2K display. And honestly, I really couldn't tell the difference between the S4 and the S5. They were both 1080. This one's almost 2K. Yeah, things look a little sharper. Pictures look a little better. But really, I couldn't see the pixels on the S4, S5. And just reading normal things, looking at the home screen, you really can't tell the difference. Onto the specs. The Samsung actually decided to ditch the Qualcomm Snapdragon and go for an Exynos 7 octa-core 7420 processor at 2.1 GHz on a 64-bit platform. If you're interested in the graphics processor, it's a Mali, I don't know how to pronounce that, T760MP8. And finally, it has 3 GB of RAM. I definitely noticed the speed difference between the S4, S5, and the S6. Everything just multitasks better, and that's thanks to that 3 GB as well on this 8-core processor. And it really takes advantage of Google's material design that they're going for. All those animations you can clearly see with no stutter and no lag. Battery life is pretty good as per usual on a smartphone. I mean, you really can't go wrong these days with battery life. It's a 2550 milliamp hour battery life, and it's actually a little bit smaller than the S5. That was kind of funny. And this one is a little bit more power hungry due to that 8-core, but it still has the same kind of battery life. I didn't notice it lasting longer than the S4, S5. It actually lasted longer than the S4, which is explainable. It has no problem lasting me all day, with it being my primary phone and doing a lot of stuff with it, including vlogging, which you should go check out. At the end of the day, it can be around 30%, it can be around 20%. It depends how much I use it, but I usually just charge it when it gets kind of low anyway. Thanks to wireless charging. Wireless charging is built in. It's Qi standard now. Thank goodness, because that is really useful. I have a wireless charger right on my desk that stays plugged in all the time, and it's really nice. You don't have to fumble with any cables, which I'm not saying was a bad thing, but wireless charging makes everything easier. Also, fast charging, which I talked about earlier, 0 to 100% in a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half, which is really nice when you're trying to get battery life. There's also Samsung's features that helps you get more battery life, and including power saving and ultra power saving.
Call quality is also really great as well.
Well, this is like the shortest topic nowadays on phones, go figure. And this is my first phone with Verizon, which is really nice. Sprint sucks so bad. That's not with call quality. Actually, they weren't that bad. But Verizon, their data is better. But anyway, the call quality is also crystal clear. It's been the same for a while, and the speaker is great for it. It's up to standards and no complaints there. Samsung actually decided to trim TouchWiz down a little bit, and I think it was like 40% they decided to take away from TouchWiz. And yes, it does feel more stock Android. Like, I've noticed the different features that has been taken away. And yes, it helps because it's more traditional Android, which is great for speed. Out of the box, it came with Android Lollipop, which I didn't have before, and it was really nice. Under the camera is really good, like really good. I know the LG G4 is either almost as good or a little bit better, however you want to look at it. And there's also other phones that come up to almost to the on par with it. Still, this is almost one of the best ones out there. Both of them are. And the back is a 16 megapixel f1.9 aperture that is totally sharp. And in terms of video, it could shoot up to 4K, and that also looks really sharp. The front-facing camera is also really good too, with it having a wide-angle 5 megapixel camera, and videos can shoot up to 1440p. So I just finished installing Geekbench 3, and we're going to go ahead and do some benchmarks on it using Geekbench 3. All the apps are going to be closed now, so we're going to go ahead and accept that, and there's the specs. You can go ahead and look at that now. We're on the benchmarks. Alright, so as you can see, we have a perfect, that's cool. Single core score is 1483. Multi-core score is 5000 exactly. That is really awesome. I mean, in terms of the number, because that's cool, that's 5000 exactly. So here's my information. I don't know if you want to look at that again. I kind of explained in the video. Single core, we're going to just go ahead and compare that to the Galaxy S5. So you can see that this, really the multi-core score is where it'll shine. But in terms of the single core, it's higher too. The Galaxy S5, 938, 1483 on the Galaxy S6. This is one of the higher ones in single core score, because just look at this. I'm curious to see if iPhone is on here too. I don't think it'll be. No. Alright, well there's your scores, and this is the highest one on this list at least. Let's go ahead and look at the multi-core score, and I expected that too. The 8 core really shines on this S5, S6. I mean, that's double. That's actually, that's almost double. Yeah, a little less than double than the S5, and that is really insane. And just comparing these to all these devices, you can really see how this 8 core shines in this Geekbench score. Some extra features that I didn't really mention was the fingerprint sensor. That's way better than the Galaxy S5. The Galaxy S5, you had to swipe, and sometimes it will work. There's almost like a 75% chance of working, no matter how good you get it. This one's more of a 90% chance of working. 90, 95. It's really good, and if you set it up the right way, that's the trick. You have to set it up the right way, and it will work really well. The heart rate sensor is also really nice too. Usually when I come back from doing exercises or whatever, like riding my bike, taking a walk, or doing whatever, I check my heart rate just to see what it's at. And it's a really nice feature too. The speaker that's built in sounds a lot better, and the earbuds that come with, they're a lot better too. You can actually hear bass out of the earbuds. The speakers, the speaker, you can hear a little bit of low frequency on it, but it sounds really better. It sounds more natural and more real. Also, I'm really pumped for our Samsung Pay to come out. That's going to come out this summer and utilizes MST as well as NFC for its payments. Now let's take a look at the Galaxy S5 review real quick and compare that to the GS6. It's got a better fingerprint sensor, and it's not so annoying where I have to turn it off. Notice how I said on the Galaxy S5 review that it's not so annoying. This one isn't annoying at all. It's got a better display, a better speaker, fast charging, wireless charging, less TouchWiz, better cameras, classier design, better build, and it's way faster. But it's also not waterproof, so if that's your thing, then it's not waterproof. You can't go in the water with it or the shower with it. It also doesn't have a removable back either, so you can't remove the back, you can't take out the battery, you can't replace the battery. There's no expandable storage either, which I think they could have done. That's their fault, because they could have put on the side or something. There's enough room for it. Little door that opens and puts, because a lot of people miss expandable storage. So should you switch from the GS5 to the GS6? Well, if you're due for an upgrade and you don't have to spend all of your money on it, go ahead. If you like new phones too, because this one's a lot different. It's like all of those things that I mentioned. It's different, and you'll notice the difference. If you have like a GS4 or older, or like another older Android phone, another iPhone, definitely with an iPhone. But if you have an older phone, I would say definitely, and you're considering the GS6, definitely go consider it, because it's a really good phone. And you'll definitely notice differences from those ones. Did I say definitely enough? Final verdict, if you're due for an upgrade or you really want this phone, definitely consider it if you're in the market for a high-end smartphone, because it's really good. Alright guys, thanks for watching my review. If you'd like to click the like button down below, it helps out a lot. And tell me how I did in the comments down below. Check out my vlogs, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. What's up guys, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a review on the Nokia DT900 wireless charging plate, so let's get started.